Hi guys, so I had a question about this assignment, which was from March 20th. I put the solutions up, but I'm gonna just do a little video about how to do this number 11, which is finding the 6 trig ratios of these special triangles. So now that you've learned the unit circle, maybe you realize why I showed you this. I gave this to you for a reason. These are those triangles that are inside the unit circle, right? With the one inch radius, right? Which is the hypotenuse, and the 45 degrees and the 30 degrees and the 60 degrees. Okay, so there was a reason why I gave you that. So I'm going to be finding, which was on the assignment, the ratios for the 30, 60, and 45, okay? So I have it written here. I'm just going to show you the work in case anybody wants to see it, all right? So let's start with 30 degrees, okay? So remember, think about you're standing here, right? If I'm standing here, my sine is, let me write SOHCAHTOA up here. SOHCAHTOA. Right? So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So my opposite side is right across at 1/2 over my hypotenuse is 1. So the sine of 30 degrees is 1/2 over 1, which is just 1/2. Right? My cosine of 30 degrees. I'm back on the 30 degrees. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So my adjacent side is here. My hypotenuse is 1, so it's just radical 3 over 2. Over 1, which I'm just going to write as radical 3 over 2. I'm not even going to bother writing over 1. Okay? And then we have our tangent. Our tangent is opposite, right? Opposite over adjacent. So my opposite side is 1/2. My adjacent side is radical 3 over 2. So if I have 1/2 over, it's a little blurry, radical 3 over 2, that means I'm going to have 1/2 times the reciprocal, right, which is 2 over radical 3. So this will cancel, and I get 1 over radical 3. I should have gave myself more room. And then this needs to be simplified, right? 1 over, let me grab another piece of paper. Okay, if I have 1 over radical 3, we can't leave the radical in the denominator. So I multiply by radical 3 over radical 3, and then I get radical 3 over 3. Okay, so this should be written as radical 3 over 3. Okay, I'm a little mushed there, but... Okay, and then cosecant, secant, and cotangent are easy. Just make sure you match them up, right? The C goes with the S goes with the C, and then the tangent goes with the cotangent. So cosecant is just the reciprocal of sine. So instead of 1 over 2, it's going to be 2 over 1, which is just 2. The secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So instead of radical 3 over 2, it's going to be 2 over radical 3, right? Which you need to rationalize the denominator. So that gives me 2 radical 3 over 3. Okay, and then the cotangent is the reciprocal of here. So instead of radical 3 over 3, you have 3 over radical 3, right? Which again, we have to rationalize the denominator. So that gives me 3 radical 3 over 3, right? You with me? 3 radical 3 over 3. The 3's cancel, so I just have a radical 3. All right? Now 60 degrees, remember, you're over here. On the unit circle, you'll see it, you know, at the origin, coming at the your reference angle, which we'll talk about more later. So here now, it's going to be, this is the opposite, this is the adjacent, and then of course that's always the hypotenuse. So the sine of 60 is opposite over hypotenuse. So radical 3 over 2 over 1, so it's just radical 3 over 2. Okay, your cosine of 60 is adjacent over hypotenuse. So you have radical, 1 over 2 over 1 is just 1/2. Right? My tangent is opposite over adjacent. So I have 1/2 over radical 3 over 2. So I'll do my work over here. 1/2 over radical 3 over 2. So that's 1/2 multiplied by the reciprocal, right? Oh, I messed up. Sorry, guys. Scratch that. If you're standing on 60, your tangent is opposite over adjacent. Sorry. So opposite is radical 3 over 2 over my adjacent is 1/2. Sorry if I confuse you guys. I'm not remaking the video. So opposite is radical 3 over 2. Adjacent is 1/2. So hopefully you were screaming at the video like, no, you're wrong. What are you talking about? All right. I did that on purpose. All right. So you have radical 3 over 2 multiplied by the reciprocal of 1/2, right, is 2 over 1. So this will cancel, right? And then I get is radical 3 over 1 is just radical 3. So that is radical 3. Okay, and then, again, the cosecant matches up with the sine, so that's the reciprocal, which is 2 radical 3 over 3. The secant is the reciprocal of cosine, so it's 2. And the cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent, so that's 1 over radical 3, which you would simplify into radical 3 over 3, which you would rationalize the denominator. So if you notice, look what happens here with the sine of 30 and the sine and cosine of 60. The sine of 30 becomes the cosine of 60, and the cosine of 30 becomes the sine of 60. Okay? And this stuff is like inverses, which we'll talk about later, and they switch around a little bit. But actually, I happen to have the unit circle right next to me. I could look at my unit circle and say, hey, what is the sine of 60 degrees? And I'll go into my unit circle at 60 degrees, which is right here, and the sine is our y, and you'll get radical 3 over 2, which we got, radical 3 over 2. So no matter what the triangle, any triangle with 60 degrees, it could be short legs like this, the 1-inch unit circle hypotenuse here, the radius, or it can be really, really long giant triangle. A 60-degree triangle, a 60-degree angle in a right triangle is always going to have the sine of radical 3 over 2 because of the ratio with the angle. It doesn't matter how big the triangle, okay? It's just always going to work out that way. All right, so that's why the unit circle is so helpful. And then the 45 degree is the same thing. Again, you only have to do one here. It doesn't matter. But if I'm doing the sine of 45, I have radical 2 over 2, right? Opposite over hypotenuse. So this over hypotenuse is just radical 2 over 2, right? The cosine is going to be the same thing, right? Adjacent over hypotenuse, which is just radical 2 over 2. And then the tangent is opposite over adjacent. So radical 2 over 2 over radical 2 over 2. And what's anything over itself? 1, right? So that's 1. And then we just have reciprocals. Cosecant of 45 degrees. I'm going to just take the reciprocal of sine. So that's 2 over radical 2, right? Which we're going to rationalize. I'll just do it out for you. So that gives me 2 radical 2 over 2. Cancel. Secant is reciprocal of cosine, which is going to be the same exact thing, right? Cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. 1 over 1 is just 1 over 1. The reciprocal is 1. All right, so I hope that clarified some things if you were having trouble. And I'm going to make a video for Monday about the unit circle assignment. So we can make sure we know what we're doing, and then we can move on. All right? I hope you guys are doing well. Bye.